since COVID, it's crazy, but I've come across some pretty talented people. Before COVID, I was limited to Southern California home haunts only. But during the age of coronavirus, I've connected with haunters from Michigan all the way to Atlanta, all thanks to social media. It can be used for actual networking and modern day PayPaling, guys. Did I say PayPaling? I meant pen paling. That's just me. If you're still scrolling through Pinterest for modern day do-it-yourself home haunt stuff or just every night household decor, look no further than He's a Crafty One, aka Erik. He's making crafting dope again. Erik is the mastermind behind some incredible horror props that don't shy away from the gore and the horror. In fact, his rather large prop inspired by The Thing is what caught my scrolling eye. With his fucking hilarious IGTV show, That's So Crafty, Erik, along with his family and friends, give us some gut-busting laughs while showing us all how to make everything from burnt skulls to vegetarian intestines. I said what I said. Complete with a gold glue gun chain, a time-lapse button, unnecessary drone shots, Crafty Erik is not greedy with his fun energy. He was even kind enough to introduce me to Haunt Junkies, a haunter couple in Georgia, and it's been good conversations ever since, folks. So, boils and ghouls, let me introduce you to Erik Crafty.
Shut the fuck up.
Yay! Thanks for joining me, Erik.
Hello. Thank you for such an awesome introduction.
Couldn't help it. I was like, how do I get as good as he is? And then when I try to be funny on the fly, it just never works. You seem to manage it quite well. So, let's just get started. Get right into it. So when did you start doing it yourself? Or should I say doing it yourselfing? When did you start DIYing?
Well, let's see. We'll say DIYing. So it was about 5 years ago when I started doing this type of Halloween prop and stuff. But I think it all comes from like wanting to be a filmmaker many, many years ago. So that's where it started. My love of film. And for me, this whole process just kind of making mini movies, which has always really been really cool to me. So, I had made like couple of really bad, like cheesy horror films with my friends, so like we had like a full length one that was like 80 minutes long and everything. And, so I had always loved filmmaking, and I think this just kind of branches off from that and my love of horror movies. So, and I just started, I moved into a new house, and then my son was like 2, and I did some Halloween decorations. I always loved Halloween. Did some Halloween decorations, and he got really into them. He's like, whoa, and I'm like, oh, sweet. So then from there, it has evolved into this, So
That's pretty sick, though. Like, so I want to go back to the fact that you were making little short films. Where can we find those somewhere? The worse they are, the better, in my opinion.
Oh, okay. Well, then, as a matter of fact, since I brought it up, I thought I would bring. This is my full length.
It's a whole VHS.
It's a VHS. I have like a ton of these. So we made this in 1999. Not to date or age myself, but we made this in 1999. The Fear Leaders. This was me and my friends. I have if you want, I have 8 million, like a ton of copies of this left over. So I made like a ton of copies when we made it. It's some cheesy fun. I wish we had better audio equipment back then, but I mean, I'm talking 99. Like if I was always like, if I want to remake this movie now, when
please do.
All the editing and all the sound equipment and everything is so much, just the stuff you can do,
right?
Stuff now. I'm like, dude, totally want to remake this movie. Like, I can send you a copy of this if you don't want to watch
Please.
it. The sound is bad. I always hated the sound. I'm like, yeah, but that's all we had back then.
And so now you can totally make like a redo or revamp of it, like in your garage, because seriously, it's amazing to me how creative people it can be.
Oh,
and then they're like, but we don't know. I don't know. How old are your kids?
I have an 11 and a 6-year-old.
11 and a 6-year-old. So does your 11-year-old go up to you and go, hey, Dad, I learned about microorgasms today. What is they ask these questions, and I'm like, so you realize that you have the world at your fingertips. Google that shit if you want to know what's going on.
Same thing. I'm like, look it up, bro. Like, I know. Like, look it up. Just
right, look it up. That's what I do. Remember, we had to go to the library. We have to go look up encyclopedias. These kids don't know. I'm 40, and I think you're a little bit. Oh, you're in your 40s, right?
Oh, yes, yeah. I am.
We're fucking badass. I don't give a shit what anyone says. 40's been awesome to me. So date all you want. So what inspired you to start, besides, you did your horror filmmaking, what inspired you to start He's a Crafty One? Or what, Crafty Man? What is it? I'm sorry. I thought I wrote it down. Crafty.
He's
All I hear is
Crafty's the
crafty.
show.
He's crafty.
Yeah. I just have many different characters on the show. So I was making these props or whatever, and my friend here in Michigan, he's a pretty big food blogger in Michigan, so he has a YouTube show. I was helping him out with his YouTube show a little bit. And, I make this stuff, and he's like, oh, man, you should make some videos doing this stuff, So I started off with my first couple videos and doing that and everything. And, like, for me, I was just always like, when I watch, like, DIY videos, they're awesome. The stuff that people make is awesome. But for me, I'm like, I just want it to be a little bit more entertaining. That's why I consider them all their little own, like, mini movies, and then
right.
I start just branching off and making stupid characters. Just, you know what I mean? Just like to add a different element to it. I don't just want to be look entertaining, yet you can make something and learn something from it. So
exactly. I was telling my husband, I was sitting here cracking up watching your videos, and he's like, "The fuck are you doing now?" And I'm like, "Dude, this guy's fucking hilarious. He's a pretty handy craftsman guy, but he's not as funny as you are." And then I'm like, how you're so practical. I'm a whore for practical effects. So the fact that you, especially the burnt skull, was one of my favorites. How you make it look so simple. And then I'll get into the kid who died in Halloween 3.
like the name, I
love all of your titles. Like, I'm just sitting here cracking up laughing. In fact, you inspired me to do some theatrics for my upcoming shit that I have coming up. So it was all because of you.
Awesome.
Now, have you ever bought a prop and just let it be? Like, let's say you went to Spirit Halloween store and you bought it and you're like, oh, this is cool. Have you ever just let anything be? Or does everything you bring in have to be improved with a crafty touch?
Well, I mean, I used to just let it be, but then I was kind of like, I can't. After a while, some of those things, and I've had this discussion with haunt junkies as well. Like, you look at those props, and they're cool in, they're cool in the idea,
right?
But man, you just got to improve on them, man. Like the one in that video, I ordered that thing. I'm thinking, oh, this thing's gonna be sweet. I get it through the mail on like eBay, and then you press the button and he does that stupid thing where he's like, I'm like, for real? I'm like, what is this, dude? So then I had always had I'm like, I didn't want to just get rid of him. So I was just like, someday I'm going to improve upon him. So that was,
I love it.
The whole gist of that video. But yeah, I don't think I could ever just like, I don't know, just keep some of the tombstones and stuff. Yeah, but the props, I would totally have to improve on any of those props.
Yeah, I tried telling my husband, but that's because he knows me too. We're looking at Spirit, and I'm like, ooh, let's get this hanging scarecrow, and he's like, it looks so stupid, and I'm like, well, we could improve it, but what happens is nothing ever happens with it, so it just ends up being boring because I lose interest, and I'm like, oh, it's already mid-October, I can't do it.
You're just gonna make one yourself.
I do need to make my own. I used to be crafty. I used to be. Now, I love everything that you've made. Like, I don't have a complaint or a criticism for anything that you do. I wish I could feature everything that you've done. And I wish I could come visit you this year, but, whatever. It happens. But another thing that I found interesting, too, is the fact it doesn't seem like you throw anything away. You improve it and you store it. So can you give me some secrets on how to keep everything tidy and safe from the elements without, a husband or a wife bitching to throw it away because it's just sitting here and it's taking up too much space?
Oh,
where do you put that?
This is all in my garage. All that stuff is behind me right now. So
I love it. I can see.
Thus is the battle of my garage. So here's this skull wall. So I plug that in for the show. Hey, and then that dude's over here now because he's got that shiatsu neck massager in his head. The thing guy he's right next to me and everything. So everything's just all in my garage.
I love it.
There was some stuff that I kept in my basement, but it's just like you're shifting things around. You got to set up for homeschool now, so it's like there's even less space, So yeah, most of it's in the garage where I built a shelving unit to store some of this stuff. And then
I love it.
The other thing too is, so last year there's a club around called Motor City Haunt Club. So they're like Halloween enthusiasts that's around here, and they have every year they have a haunted garage sale, you know. So I signed up as a vendor last year. I made like 100 tombstones to sell at this thing, right? So I did, you know, I sold quite a few, not 100, and like I got tombstones galore just up my ass. And so I got all these shelves, and I got just tombstones everywhere. I've been trying to sell them on Facebook Marketplace. I sold some. I still got a lot. I'm just going to throw them all out my front yard for a cemetery display.
I mean, you can never have too many tombstones, in my opinion.
And just got to turn them around. They won't say the same thing. It's all good, you know.
Right. And I saw, you know, how you have them stacked and stuff, because I'm that nosy observer who goes, I want a garage like that. So I had to ask. Right. Now, so sadly, we were talking on Instagram about the fact that you won't be doing a haunt this year, because we all know why. So let's reminisce. What did you do last year? Can you give us an idea, an example of what you did?
See, mostly my stuff, I just kind of, I decorate. Like this year, I wanted to go through and do like a walkthrough. You know what I mean? Like we talk about haunt junkies, they go full on walkthrough. Mine is just kind of like a decorate a little bit. You know, people walk by and stuff. So this year, I was going to transform my whole garage, because I have a door that leads out to the side to my backyard. So I was going to take people on this little journey through the backyard and everything. And really, my whole idea was my front yard, I was going to turn into a whole cornfield and start there. You walk through the cornfield, come through my garage, go out the side and go to my backyard. So that was my whole idea. But obviously now, still, hopefully next year, it's still on a Sunday. You still should get a good crowd at least, you know. It's kind of hit or miss sometimes here in Michigan, because like I said, you got 70 degrees one year and you got freezing ass rain the next year with high winds. So it's like, who knows where it's going to land, but you know, if the weather's good enough, you know, I really wanted to do that cornfield. Now, like I don't know if people are going to be even trick-or-treating here or not. So, but like, I don't want to like create a cornfield in my front yard and then, you know, people all huddle up and get in there. You know, I don't want to be the cause of any, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I'll just go back with my, and that's the thing too, is like, I keep coming up with different ideas, you know? So like, I'm just going to run with the scarecrow through my cemetery. I was going to make a few things. I'm going to start shooting my He's Crafty Halloween special. So, and it's going to be a longer, I usually try to keep my episodes short. This one will be a longer one. I'll have a couple different things in it. So pretty much it'll be my whole setup this year. And I keep like changing it. Like now I just want to be like, I want to do like an 80s horror theme. So I want to make my front yard like Crystal Lake.
Holy shit.
I'm coming up with
just trademark that shit, because I could see everyone stealing your idea right now. No one's ever done that. That's dope.
And I want to like all of, you know, I'll take some Friday the 13th. You know, obviously I got Kid That Died in Halloween 3. I throw him on my porch. You know what I mean? I got The Thing going on. So I got a bunch of 80s horror, you know, and I'm like, I'm just thinking of a whole setup. I'm like, man, I can just have a tent, bloody ass tent in the middle of my yard. It's Crystal Lake. You know what I mean? I'm like, I got 8 million Jason Voorhees tombstones that I made for that thing that I didn't sell. I got Jason Voorhees tombstones everywhere, and then like really I wanted to make a wood chipper to do the wood chipper effect.
Dude.
Like a sub pump and just spray out blood the whole time.
If you do this, I'm coming. Do you hear that? We're going to Michigan. I mean, that sounds like worth a trip to me. Just to come and see that. I'll be there when you do this next year. And then here's me going, do it all.
That's what so like if I don't do it this year, definitely 80s horror. I'm going 80s horror next year.
Now, do you do a lot of this stuff? Like, you know, I was asked if I was going to decorate outside my house. I am nowhere as talented as you guys are. I just throw what I like out there. There's no theme. There's just Michelle Halloween threw up on her front yard. No, but you know, everyone's upset about trick-or-treating. I fully get it, you know, especially for the kids. That's something that they look forward to. But in my neighborhood, we don't get a lot of trick-or-treaters. So usually it's just a party and whatnot. But I was always asked, why do you do all of this decorating? For what? For 5 kids that show up? I do it because I fucking love it. My kids are teenagers and adults. And I'm like, fuck you guys. I'm still doing it for me because they think it's all stupid. So I do it for me. Do you do it for yourself, your kids, the neighborhood? What inspires you to keep doing this every year?
Well, I think mostly to be a selfish bastard, I just do it for myself. No, but I totally do. I'm like each year. So like each year I try to top myself. I try to I want to try to stick with a theme and then do a different theme. You know what I mean? And then each year I want to see if maybe I can up the ante on what I did the year before. And I mean, it's just I love to
I
make.
love that.
It just comes from a love of horror movies. You know what I mean?
Right.
I love horror movies. I love filmmaking.
Yeah, and I love that. And I think that's pretty bad. That's what we have on the boomers because they were like, we don't decorate anymore because our children are adults now and we don't like to do it. We're lazy, blah, blah, blah. Us Gen Xers or whatever the fuck we're called, we're
Right.
awesome because we're like 40-year-old kids. We don't give a shit and it's fun for us. You
Right.
know, I thought we were going to be like boring dead people by now. I'm having the time of my life, even during Corona. So keep it up. Keep it up. So let's see here. How many visitors do you estimate that you get? Like trick-or-treaters and stuff on an average year when it's not coronavirus year, or 2020, I should say.
On an average year where it's not 2020 and then like where the weather isn't total shit, I would say that we get I mean, in this area we get more trick-or-treaters than where I used to live in Michigan.
Okay.
So in here you get about like maybe you see about on a good night, 200 plus kids that come through this neighborhood.
That's Chuck, we're moving to Michigan. Okay,
That's if it's good, but that's the rarity though. Like I said, there was a 70-degree Halloween a few years ago, and I'm like, wow, dude, this is awesome. We like what I was trying to do with the neighbors, but the weather's always bad. We tried to have the Saturday before Halloween, we had a whole neighborhood Halloween party, bonfire in my driveway, stuff like that, So like kids were carving pumpkins. So it's cool. We tried to do that every year, but like every year since that one, the weather's just been garbage. It's like I guess we're not doing it this year again.
Yeah. It's
time to do the progressive dinner. We got to do.
I usually bitch about Southern California. So to me, I'm like, this sounds pretty cool, but I get it. You put all this work in, and then you're like, fuck, really? Thanks,
Yeah,
Mother Nature.
That was last year's Halloween too. The high wind warning. The weather forecast the day before, I'm like, and my wife knows because then once she sees that, she just knows that it's me being like, you mother. I'm like, are you kidding me? Are you kidding me, dude? For real? The one day of the year you got a high wind freaking warning, dude. I got a bunch of shit up, right? So,
what about Christmas? Do you get snow and all that shit on Christmas, or is it like 100 degrees?
No, we get snow. Well, I think last year's Christmas was 70. Weird shit. Halloween was freezing rain. Christmas was 70. I swear to God. But then thereafter, the weather just falls apart.
Well,
January, February in Michigan.
I can imagine. I've watched that. Yeah, they can. I'll stay in SoCal, or maybe Northern California or the Pacific Northwest. But I'm coming to visit you.
No, that's fine.
So enlighten me on some horror-related things in the central U.S. or Midwest. I don't know. What is Michigan considered? The central Midwest? Midwest? East Coast?
We'll call it Midwest, Central Midwest. Okay. That sounds good.
That sounds good to me. So what conventions do you guys have? Like, what do horror and haunt fanatics do? We have things like Midsummer Scream, Monster Palooza, but Midsummer Scream's more for the haunters. What do you guys have out there?
Like I said, there's that one club, Motor City Haunt Club. They do haunted garage sale. We also have what's the name of it? I totally forgot the name, but they have it every year, and it's at the Sheridan here. This year, of course, it got canceled. I was going to apply to be a vendor there, but everything just got canceled. So, damn, what the hell? I think it's just one of those like Scare Fest, something like that. Nothing, not a too fancy name, just pretty Scare Fest. But that's the one they have every year here. And then we have the big Comic-Cons that are here every year, and so.
I love it. Would you ever consider coming to California, taking a road trip with all your stuff?
I'm down for anything.
I'll be talking to some people because I'd love to see you and Haunt Junkies here in SoCal. You guys you'll die and be like, oh shit, we're moving to California. What was the last, speaking of horror films, that's all I've been doing during quarantine. As you can tell by my puffy ass face, I sit on my ass, watch pizza, get stoned, and watch horror movies. That was before the season started because I have to, put on a show and everything. What was the last film that you watched? Horror film?
Last horror movie that I watched, let's see. Well, what was it? I know that I'm trying to think of, I think it was just The Thing. I get in a binge and I'm like, fuck, I want to watch all Carpenter movies. So then I get in my Carpenter binge, you know what I mean? And I start
Yep.
I start watching the Halloweens, The Thing, and I think it was The Thing was my last horror movie that I watched. The funny thing is, like, most nights my kids will just be like chill over in the other room or whatever, and then when I'm like, oh, I'm gonna watch this, man, you know, I've been trying to watch some horror movies or whatever, and then of course they just want to be up in your shit. I'm like, dude, go in
All the
the
time.
other room every other day, right? Until I want to pop on, you know, freaking Terrifier or something, and then you want to come in here when the chick's getting cut in half. Thanks, bro.
Do your kids not enjoy horror movies, or you're just like, no, we're not doing this right now?
No, I mean,
I
think,
mean, Terrifier definitely is not for
yeah. See, I would
children
like
under 16.
I told my 11-year-old, I'm like, dude, you know, we can let's watch Halloween. You know what I mean? So we start out with Halloween. They don't mind, you know, he doesn't mind it. My 6-year-old, he really doesn't even have any interest in it. Like, it's funny because you go to the movies with him and he's just like totally bored within 15 minutes of the movie starting, dude. I'm like, I thought you wanted to see this movie, dude. What, you know? So, but he's just bored, you know what I mean? So, but my 11-year-old, you know, he shows more interest, you know. So we started him off. I'm like, Halloween, dude. There's nothing in there. There's like hardly any blood. It's all about the suspense and everything. But I wanted to start him off on that because for me, that's the most influential horror movie on myself was Halloween. It's all style and everything, and like just that whole. When I was younger,
it was horrifying.
when I was younger, and that's the thing that I remember about it because like you watch the edited for TV version, right?
Right.
For all these years, I thought Halloween 2 had a different ending and shit. And like I never even knew what happened to Mrs. Elves and shit. I'm like, so I'm watching the edited for TV version. That's the only version I knew, right? And then I grew up, I buy it, I'm watching it, I'm like, what is this shit, man? Where did this come from? I'm like, I thought Jimmy, like, you know, when it blew up, he like flew back and got a concussion, man. And where's he slipping on this blood? You know what I mean? It's like totally different, you know. But that's the shit that I remember, and that's why Halloween, it was just always so influential on me. Just for his tone and his style and the way it's just more suspenseful. And not that I love my gory horror movies too, you know, but for pure, you know, affected me back then. It was Halloween. It was Halloween 2 because they showed them over and over and over again.
Right? It's like you can't get enough of him.
It's if you I have that making of the Beetlejuice Tombstone video. So at the end of it, I have little shout out because it was Chiller or the Thriller double feature.
Yeah.
I watched all these movies, you know, so I got the commercial off YouTube and I threw it at the end of my video because that's a little shout out to where like it all started for me. Like I'm watching the Thriller double feature on TV 50, which is just a local station. It's TV 50 Thriller double feature, and I'm watching all these edited horror movies. You know what I mean? And then later on in life, I'm like, shit didn't happen like this. Oh, this
right?
Crazy,
to me, that's like finding you unearthed a childhood treasure. You're like, holy fuck, wait, what did I miss? Oh my god, I want more of this. So then you had to start buying DVDs and, you know, diving into all the extra features.
Right, exactly. I'm like, this is a totally new movie I'm watching.
Right? I had no idea. Like I shunned Freddy versus Jason for years. You know, I was like, I'm not watching this shit. This is dumb. This is, you know, sometimes I get a little like snobby when it comes to my horror films, but then I watched it during coronavirus or during the, you know, quarantine. I'm like, fuck, I'm an idiot. That was really good. It was stupid, but it was really good.
Exactly. It's so enjoyable. You know, I mean, it's just like, and they got the stoner dude that's pretty much, you know, Muse.
Those are always my favorite. I got to tell you about a show that I did with, you know, a pretty badass horror stoner dude. And, you know, our perception of horror movies when we're high, it's pretty rad. Okay, so this is hilarious because we had this conversation before, but I'm going to do a little theatrical thing as best as I can here. You do a little bit of dressing up and cosplaying too.
I do.
And this is me cracking the fuck up over this. So, you did an 11. You did an 11 thing, and you put in your caption, "Hi, I'm 11's older brother, 44," and then your fucking Kurt Russell fucking cosplays. I am dead. I am dead. I fucking love Kurt Russell. That was something that we both had in common. I would still sit on his face. I don't care how old he is today. So what do you love about this fucking sexy, funny, badass thespian? What is it about Kurt Russell that you love so much?
Oh, he's just a badass, man. I mean, like, you can't get any more badass than Snake Plissken. Okay,
Right?
and then like it's a whole Carpenter Kurt Russell connection. You know what I mean? Like R.J. McCready, he's a badass. You know what I mean? Jack Burton. Jack Burton was what was funny about to me about Jack Burton was he wasn't really that badass. He was that goofy guy that if he
Who
didn't
thought he
have
was badass.
yes, if he didn't have him with him, he'd get his ass kicked, you know. But Jack Burton was sweet to me too. So like just all these movies that I watch, you know, and I'm like, man, Kurt Russell is just a badass, dude. I dig Kurt Russell. You know what I mean? It's just like
I love it.
I
We
don't
even
know,
said
even like I watched
Overboard.
Overboard so many times back in the day because it was on HBO on like repeat, right? So I'm like, I saw Overboard so many times, and I'm just like, Kurt Russell's my man, dude. He's a badass.
I, I blame him in Overboard for my obsession with grungy white dudes. Um, and then
Yeah,
did you see the Christmas movie that he did?
yeah.
I know we're Halloweeners, but Christmas, I mean, come on, it's still fun. The one where he's Santa, and I'm like, dude, best fucking Santa I've ever seen. Like, he was so good at it.
I did see that, and it was like kind of like there was like a little darker
Yeah,
element to the story, even. You know what I mean? Like Kurt Russell's awesome.
right. He's just the best. Kurt Russell, we fucking love you. Um, oh yes, so there was a shirt that you have that says he's crafty versus nobody. I take that as you don't deal with people's bullshit, you don't deal with competitiveness. That was just my perception. What is the message behind this particular t-shirt?
I, Pretty much that. It's like I'm not out here to be better than everybody else. I'm just doing my shit. I don't want to hear any. It's just that I'm just doing my stuff. I know maybe some people, you know, if they watch my He's Crafty episodes and you know they don't care for the entertaining aspect of it or whatever. I mean that's cool. If it's not your thing, then you don't
Don't
want
watch
to
it.
watch it. It's cool, man. I'm not here. I'm not out here hating on people. I'm not out here against anybody.
Right.
It's just I'm doing my thing.
And I think that's a really important message too, because a lot of the times, even I get down in the dumps and I'm like, what am I doing all this shit for? Oh yeah, because it's for me and I enjoy it. If you don't like it, don't fucking watch it. But it is important when you're creative in this industry, especially when you get into a dense population like Southern California, there is a lot of unnecessary competitiveness. And I'm like, there's room for all of us. We all have something to bring to the table. I've never seen someone do a DIY thing prompt like that, So, it's not even a competition. If somebody does another one, of course I'm going to be like, whoa, that's so rad. It's all about support. So I think it's an important message. Are you selling that shirt on your T Public? Oh, you sell merch. So everyone, he sells merch.
I did not have that one up there. No, maybe I should.
Oh, you should. I'd wear it.
All right.
I'd wear it. So yeah, you're a cool line. Your T Public is still up, right?
It is up there.
T-shirts
Yeah.
are available. Okay,
Mhm.
cool. What are your plans? So for 2020, we keep talking about what you want to do, your corn maze, your 80s thing. What do you actually see happening? Like, are you doing rain dances to make sure that or maybe you shouldn't do rain dances. You should do like, just stay chill until November 1st weather. What do you guys plan on doing?
Well, I'm on vacation that week. So for me, it's Hollow week. I got the whole week. I'm going to chill. Come Halloween night, I'm gonna have all my stuff set up. I'm gonna just sit on my porch and drink.
Yes.
If nobody comes by, hopefully they drive by. If not,
Yeah.
I'll just add this tradition each year. Like, my kids will go out trick-or-treating with my wife, and then like I just sit back and hand out candy because I just want to be like, like scaring people with my stuff.
I hear that. Yeah.
So,
I remember when my kids were younger, I'm like, I don't want to go trick-or-treating. I want to sit on the porch and drink with everybody.
that's what I'll be doing. I'll be just sitting up there drinking by myself if I have to.
What is it? Your pumpkin blue moon? Was it? What was your favorite pumpkin beer?
Oh yeah, the Blue Moon.
Is that good?
It is good, as like sometimes those pumpkin beers are hit or miss. The thing for me, there was one. It was called Wicked Pumpkin Ale, and they stopped making it. You know what I mean? So you had to go to, and then they stopped making it, and then so I found that one. I'm like, well, this is not bad. Blue Moon, little pumpkin ale. I like to have them, like to sport a few like this time of year. You know what I mean? And then Sam Adams just came out with a brand new one called Jacko, which is really good too.
I'm gonna try it. I was like, why not?
They have their two different ones. There's an Oktoberfest one, but then they released like a whole brand new one that's called Jacko. But
Oh, I love
there's a lot of breweries around here in Michigan that make their own stuff, and like quite a few of those have a pretty good pumpkin ale as well.
What happened to Wicked? They used to make all kinds of different ciders, right? What do you know what happened to them?
I don't know. Or maybe it was Haunted Pumpkin Ale. Maybe not Wicked. I think it was Haunted Pumpkin Ale. Not
Haunted
that
pumpkin
Wicked.
ale. Okay.
I think they're still in business. Wicked Ale and everything. It was
Okay.
Haunted or something. Had this really cool bottle, right? Cool bottle with this pumpkin. It's gone. They stopped making it. I looked it up. Even. I'm like, where's my beer, man? It's getting to be fall.
Right? I'm like, hello, it is fall. It's been, what, a week? And it'll be gone like this. So I'm like, every day fucking counts. Drink all. Do you basic bitch and get your Starbucks PSLs?
Oh, do I do that?
Yeah.
See, I'm not really too big into Starbucks. Like, I don't really drink coffee.
Oh, okay. Okay. Let's see what other fun drinks. I'll share some recipes with you. Somebody just Murders by Chelsea just introduced me to an old. I don't know if you drink hard liquor, but I sound like I'm drinking right now. Hard liquor. It was an old fashioned, an apple cider, like a hard cider old fashioned.
Oh,
I'm
really?
like, oh yeah, that's some mature shit right there. You know, old fashions are good, but add that fall flavor to it, hell yeah.
I know a lot of times I like to sit out there and heat up you get those packets of apple cider, hot apple cider. Then I dump in the apple whiskey in there.
Yes.
Oh, dude, so good.
Yum. I love. So now our show's turned to drinking.
Yes.
No, I love. That's what we're supposed to do. One of the last things I want to talk about is the vegetarian intestines that you guys did. Are you guys vegetarians?
I myself am not vegetarian. My friend Christo and that's his wife Shelly. They own a vegetarian style pop up around here that they just actually bought their own storefront. So they have their own restaurant that'll be popping open. It's called Space Cat, and so those are all her recipes. Well, every year they do a scary movie night around Halloween. So she's always making stuff. She makes all tons. Her stuff is really awesome too, you know. So I was just like, do one of those for He's Crafty. Can I get?
Right?
I always want it to be Guy Fieri. So I was like,
you did a great impersonation.
I was just like, I don't know. It just cracks me up. All I think of with him is Smash Mouth and Sugar Ray. That's it. That's
right?
all.
Right? He makes really good food. I've only eaten his burgers on a cruise once, but I get the same impression. I'm like, he looks like the Smash Mouth guy.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's so 90s.
That's why I was just like in there. I'm like, hey, you ever heard of Sugar Ray?
Fucking hilarious. You guys, I cannot express enough how happy I am that Erik here, I think I don't know how I found you. I just remember the thing, and you were very receptive to talking to me. And I'm like, dude, you're super cool. And then you connected me with Hunt Junkies. And then the next thing I know, I'm like, guys, I need all of you on my show. Do you think this would have happened if there wasn't a pandemic? I don't know. Like, it's pretty impressive that, you know, even during the age of the Rona, where we're all stuck at home, we're all, you know, a lot of us are still being creative, not letting it get us down. And to me, I'm very satisfied because look, I met you guys.
Yeah, it's awesome. I mean, I know definitely because I mean, even my work was shut down. So I work midnights and I work midnights from home. Right. So I'm like, the whole shutdown has definitely, you know, let me be a little bit more creative and coming up with these projects. You know what I mean? I saw that thing project was like, you know, I saw the Alley Cat graphics heads, that print that I had on there. And I'm like, dude, this is so awesome looking, man. I'm like, I just want to make a prop of this, you know? So that's where that came from.
I guess I should ask, how long did that bad boy take you?
So I think in total, it was probably a week total because, you know, you got to sit there and like, you know, with spray foam, you just got to wait for that stuff to dry. It takes 24 hours for it to dry. So, you know, that first step of like filling those work coveralls with foam. So that was like, you know, you're sitting there waiting for all that crap to dry and everything, you know, but then after that, it went on it was, you know, pretty quick process after that. But I'd say a total about a week.
Oh, I love that, dude. That's epic. So guys, follow He's a Crafty1 on Instagram. I'm going to try to convince Erik to start making more films, and we'll see what, you have coming up. You have your Halloween series. I can't fucking wait for that. Let's keep the conversations rolling and the pictures flowing.
You got it. Yeah, for sure. And I'll send you out a copy of this.
Yes. I'm going to review it.
Cinema right here. The Fear Leaders.
Perfect. And I'll send you some stuff too, dude. You're amazing.
Thank you.
All right,
Thanks for
guys.
having me. I really appreciate it.
Of course. Thank you for coming on.
Oh,
you guys,
for sure.
Erik, we'll see you next time.
See ya. Thank you.
Shut the fuck up.